Cairn Review, print speaking to the blind, celebrating 40 years of audio newspaper production. Welcome to this week's edition of the Kirkintilloch Herald podcast, recorded in the Bishopbriggs Media Centre by our amazing volunteers. You can get in touch with us via Facebook, Twitter or Instagram using @CairnReview. That is @CuenDreviiew. You can also contact us directly by emailing information@CuenReview.com. That is INFORMATION@CuenReview.com, or by calling 0141 772 3976. That's 0141 772 3976.
This week's podcast, dated the 19th of July 2023, is read to you by Alan, Corey, Hunter and Ian. Official opening by TV star and MSP. Path unveiled. Report by Fraser N. Wilson. A first of its kind sensory path, offering additional bit independence to Scotland's deafblind community, has been unveiled in Kirkintilloch. Based in Lenzie, the path is aimed at supporting the deafblind community, providing those with dual sensory loss the chance to independently navigate a path at the Deafblind Scotland Learning and Development Centre. Local MSP Rona Mackay teamed up with Still Game Funnyman Gavin Mitchell to officially open the new sensory path. Better known for his role as Bobby the Barman in the hit BBC Scotland comedy series, Gavin said he was honoured to help officially unveil the path. Cutting the ribbon with Rona, he told the Herald, "Here's to raising and expanding awareness." Believed to be the first of its kind in Scotland, it is aimed at creating an even path for people in the deafblind community when out and about. Something the Chief Executive of Deafblind Scotland says most people take for granted. Speaking to us, Isabella Goldie added, "For deafblind people, a walk along outside can be fraught with risk. With the support of national charity the Wilson Foundation and the fundraising efforts of our deafblind community, we have been able to build a path that deafblind people can navigate independently for the first time. This shows what is possible and how we can create neighbourhoods and communities that are inclusive for all." Izzy McGrath, who is herself deafblind and the chairwoman of Deafblind Scotland, said the self-navigating path is the blueprint for what can be achieved. She said, "Disabled people and people with sensory loss should be engaged at the start of planning processes, not the end. Deafblind people were at the centre of designing this path, and it shows in the end result. Having this path that I can walk along on my own means so much to me as a deafblind person." Strathkelvin and Bearsden MSP Rona Mackay said, "These types of spaces are so important. This is a wonderful, inclusive, self-navigating space for deafblind people. Deafblind Scotland are a wonderful organisation and must be applauded for their tireless work in supporting people with sensory loss." This Week in History, read by me, Ian McKenna. July the 20th, 1973, Kung Fu film star Bruce Lee died in Hong Kong. On this day last year, a UK ticket holder scooped the record Euromillions jackpot of £165 million, the biggest national lottery win ever. July 21st, 1962, the Rolling Stones made their first appearance at the Marquee Club in London. July 22nd, 1932, Florence Ziegfeld, the US impresario famed for his girls and staircases in his Folly shows, died. On this day last year, it was announced that Jade Goody's son Bobby Brazier would be joining EastEnders in his acting debut. July 23rd, 1955, Donald Campbell broke the world water speed record on Ullswater when he reached 202.32 miles per hour in Bluebird. On this day last year, the Red Arrows jets and Typhoon warplanes were grounded after concerns about a safety issue with the ejector seats. July 24th, 1980, Peter Sellers died in hospital 2 days after suffering a heart attack attending a reunion lunch with fellow goons Spike Milligan and Harry Seacombe. On this day last year, members of Girls Aloud joined forces with Cancer Research UK for a special Race for Life for Sarah 5k event in Hyde Park to remember Sarah Harding. June 25th, 1965, former champion British boxer and nightclub owner Freddie Mills was found shot dead in his car in Soho.
Offering up fun for free. East Dunbartonshire Council have announced a treasure chest of free family fun at this summer's Kirkintilloch Canal Festival. Excitement is rising for the annual celebration, with a range of fun for all the family on the horizon. And it has been made all the more accessible thanks to the local authority who have worked with Kirkintilloch Baptist Church to create a free family fun zone. Based at the church's townhead premises and car park, events will run on the Sunday Fun Day from noon until 5 p.m. Entertainment will include inflatable areas for primary school aged children, inflatable laser quest for secondary school aged children, a music stage, toddler and teen zones, and inflatable pillow fighting. Reverend Mark Fife told the Herald, "We are delighted to be serving our community and working with the council again to offer free fun for all the family on the Sunday Fun Day. The church counts it a real privilege to help in our community in a variety of ways. This is only possible thanks to our wonderful volunteers and staff team. We look forward to seeing you all. The free fun zone will also have a gaming screen, face painting, crafts, cream teas in the cafe, free tea, coffee, and tray bakes outdoors." The festival takes place on Saturday, August 26th from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. at South Bank Marina, and on Sunday, August 27th from noon until 5 p.m. at the Marina, Cowgate, Townhead and Barley Bank. There will also be activities in the week leading up to the festival. In general, there is a strong emphasis on free activities and attractions at this year's festival, including a free Saturday evening concert and fireworks from 7 p.m, with the Sunday also seeing classic cars, canoeing, archery, live music, street theatre, magicians and more. Council leader Gordon Lowe told us, "We're proud to work with a range of partners to deliver the Canal Festival, including Kirkintilloch Baptist Church. Well done to all involved for their continued enthusiasm and commitment. We know many families are facing severe financial challenges at this time, so it's important we provide as much free entertainment as possible."
NHS is praised as recorded by Hunter MacDonald. NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde has been recognised with a Gold Award by the Ministry of Defence Employers Recognition Scheme. This marks the outstanding commitment NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde offers veterans and armed forces personnel across the west of Scotland, but also the large part of our workforce with close links to the armed forces as reservists, veterans, or as family of serving members. The proactive work it has done to help ensure those who have served, who continue to serve, and their families aren't disadvantaged in the workplace helps secure this recognition. ERS endorses Employers Act as advocates for the armed forces community. Anne McPherson from the Health Board called it a fantastic achievement for NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde. Cases of measles are on the rise. NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde have stressed the importance of being vaccinated against measles, mumps and rubella. Measles is one of the most highly infectious diseases and can lead to serious and potentially life-threatening complications if not treated. Symptoms of measles include a high fever, rash, cough, runny nose and watery eyes. In the most severe of cases, measles can develop into more threatening conditions such as pneumonia, especially in those with a weakened immune system. The Health Board's advice comes amidst an increase in cases across the UK and Europe, with the Health Board urging vaccination to help safeguard public health. Ian Kennedy, consultant in public health medicine, said, "Measles can spread easily and quickly through droplets from the nose and mouth when an infected person coughs or sneezes. As we have noticed an increase in cases across the UK, it is important to ensure the safety of each other, in particular young children. We would encourage all parents to ensure their child has had 2 doses of the MMR vaccine before they start school to help reduce the spread of infection. The best way to stay safe and healthy is to get vaccinated against the disease and collectively reduce the risk of outbreaks. Increased vaccination coverage can create a shield of immunity that safeguards the wider community. For more information on measles and how you can stay protected, head to nhsinforum.scot. Tax increase plans bad for residents. Pam Gosal, MSP, has hit out at the Scottish Government's plans to reform council tax. The West Scotland representative hit out at the SNP proposals, saying they would see over half of East Dunbartonshire households hit with large increases in their annual bills. She spoke out after the government published proposed reforms to the current charging structure last Wednesday, July the 12th, labelling the proposals desperate and unfair. Miss Gosal added, "Residents across East Dunbartonshire will be incensed with these plans, which should see them hit hard in already tightly stretched pockets. Over half of the properties in the region would be hit by these increases. The proposals could see around 750,000 properties across Scotland affected in total, with the new system meaning an increase of £781 per year for Band H properties, with properties in Bands E to G also seeing large increases." Scottish Labour's Deputy Shadow Spokesperson for Local Government, Miss Gosal, said that Scotland's councils are at breaking point after the SNP spent the last decade funneling money away from their core budgets. She continued, instead of asking hard-stretched taxpayers to foot the bill for their legacy of council funding cuts, the SNP should commit to a fair funding deal for local government, which we have been repeatedly calling for. Our proposals would mean local government would receive a fixed percentage of the Scottish Government's budget. This would give councils the core funding they need for local services and making desperate and unfair reforms such as this completely unnecessary. Snapping Scotland. Stagecoach has announced the launch of its Nature by Bus competition just in time for summer holidays. Designed to inspire young people to hop on board the bus, they are hoping to discourage under-22s to discover Scotland's stunning beaches and local parks. And they want them to capture the magic of their journeys through the lens of their cameras during the school holidays, from feeding the ducks and building sandcastles to chasing pigeons and discovering hidden treasures. Stagecoach wants youngsters to share their fun-filled bus adventures and have the chance to win some great prizes. Parents, teachers and guardians are encouraged to join in the excitement and embark on memorable bus journeys together. Entries are due by August the 18th. For more, head to stagecoachbus.com.
50 years of pea leisure. Staff past and present helped to celebrate 50 years of an important Bishopbriggs institution recently. The popular Leisure Drome marked 5 decades of fun and fitness for people of all ages last Wednesday, July the 12th. Originally known as Bishopbriggs Sports Centre, the facility was officially opened by Her Royal Highness Princess Anne 50 years ago. And, to mark the occasion, East Dunbartonshire Leisure and Culture, EDLC, Trust, which operates a Leisure Drome, asked people to share stories of how they have connected with it over the years. From that, a special birthday card was produced and is now on display on site, featuring stories and recollections from local residents who have enjoyed decades of swims, workouts, fitness and fun at the centre. Council leader Gordon Lowe visited the Leisuredome with EDLC Trust Chairman Jim Neal to mark the birthday. He told the Herald, "Princess Anne predicted 50 years ago that the centre would give enjoyment and pleasure to a wide range of people, and that has certainly been the case. It continues to be a well-used and much-loved facility, offering a range of activities and inspiring generations of families from Bishopbriggs and beyond. In 1973, Princess Anne arrived by helicopter to officially open the Bishopbriggs facility, telling well-wishers at the time, 'This sports centre has a great deal to offer, and I'm sure that anyone who comes here will use the facilities to their fullest extent and derive the maximum pleasure from them.' Since then, there has been a revamp and a rebrand, with the centre becoming the Leisuredome in 1995. A commemorative video has been produced and is available to view via the EDLC Leisure Facebook and Twitter accounts. In addition, on social media, they gave away 50-day pass daily in the week leading up to the milestone birthday. Trust Chairman Jim added, "We recently invested in the gym in the studio, with new fitness classes being added all the time and redecoration work and new signage on the way. Happy birthday to the Leisuredome, and thanks to everyone who's been part of our adventure. Here's to years of fitness and fun for all."
Jurors clear footy coach. A former football coach has been cleared of running over a boy who threw an egg at his car. Daniel Gormall, 26, was accused of dangerous driving in Kirkintilloch in August 2021 and was said to have driven at speed towards the 14-year-old and two other boys. The charge said he revved his engine, pursued them and collided with the boy's bike, causing him to fall to the ground. Gormall faced an alternative charge of assaulting the boy to his severe injury and permanent impairment. Glasgow Sheriff Court heard the boy and his friends were out on bikes and had bought eggs to throw at cars. Now 16, he said he threw an egg which hit the bonnet of Gormall's car, which followed him before coming to a slow stop. The boy claimed he cycled away quickly, but the car continued towards us. It is then, he said, he came off his bike. Prosecutor Jessica McGowan asked him for the first thing he remembered after coming off his bike, to which he said, "Just lying on the ground on my back on the pavement." Miss McGowan asked if he felt the car hitting him. He replied, "I can't remember." She asked, "How can you not remember?" To which he said, "Because it was a rush of adrenaline. I don't know if I jumped off my bike or not." The boy was taken to hospital where he was put in a cast for his arm. Callum Drummond, defending, asked the boy if he could remember if he was hit by the car. He said he couldn't. Jurors heard how the boy suffered a fractured wrist in two places and lost bone fragment on his elbow. Gormall, now an asbestos remover, told how he knew the boys from being their football coach and was shocked after the egg was thrown on his windscreen. Trying to clear it with the wipers and spray, he said it just scrambled it, adding that he veered off the road after the egg made contact. Gormall said, "I felt something under my car, that's when I stopped." He stated he saw one of the boys run away while looking out of a clear part of the windscreen. Mr. Drummond asked his client if he deliberately pursued the boys to cause them harm, to which he replied, "Definitely not." Gormall of Kirkintilloch said he was told by the boy's father that he had hit his son before going to the police station. He was found not proven for the single charge and thanked the jurors as he left the dock. Screening helping to improve our health. A new report by the local health board has highlighted successes in promoting public health. NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde's NHS GGC annual screening report for 2021-22 showcases the achievements in relation to public health and early detection. It highlights performance across a number of such programmes, with the majority of programmes meeting expected annual targets. Dr. Amelia Crichton, the Health Board's Director of Public Health, said these programmes are vital in securing early detection, management of diseases and better outcomes for patients. She added, "This report highlights the hard work of our staff to ensure identification of potential health concerns at an early stage, which can lead to improved treatment outcomes and ultimately saving lives. Notable areas of success are the newborn blood spot and the newborn hearing screening, where there was over 99% uptake. The babies affected received timely treatment that improved their health or prevented significant disability. Such programmes continue to recover from the impact of COVID-19, and the commitment to early detection and timely interventions by providing comprehensive screening services is demonstrated within this report. It reflects the dedication from our staff members to deliver high-quality screening services that prevent or treat diseases at an early stage. Dr. Crichton. Breast and bowel screening programmes also met the uptake targets, which reflect the organisation's commitment to providing accessible services to help early detection and treatment of cancer. While the report demonstrates success across our screening programmes, I recognise there are improvements to be made across specific areas such as cervical screening, where I would urge women to make the smear appointment when prompted, as it can save their life. I'd like to thank the dedicated staff across the whole of the Health Board who have helped ensure our screening programmes continue to provide the best possible service for members of the public. I'd also like to commend the individuals for coming forward and participating in our programmes to help us contribute to positive outcomes in patient health.
Search for worst team. Specsavers have turned their eyes to Kirkintilloch and Bishopbriggs in the search for Britain's worst football team. But it's not a search aimed at naming and shaming, rather at helping. The opticians and eyewear specialists are scouring the country as part of its nationwide search to find a grassroots football team in desperate need of a little help. The community opticians and audiologists is giving one local club a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to turn its fortunes around with face-to-face training from a world-class footballing legend and money-can't-buy experiences usually reserved for only elite clubs. Specsavers has a store in Cowgate in Kirkintilloch, open 7 days a week. It also has a store in the Bishopbriggs, the Triangle Centre, which is also open 7 days a week. Neil Drain, optometrist director at the local Specsavers, said, "For decades, Specsavers has celebrated and made heroes of those who really should have gone to Specsavers. This year, we're taking our commitment to celebrating human moments to the next level by investing in an underfunded area of culture which relies heavily on excellent sight and hearing, grassroots football. We want to give this community of heroes a taste of fame, celebrating them and their humanness in a way that only they can dream about. So that's why we want local clubs across the UK to come forward and apply for the chance to be Specsavers' best worst team and all the glory that comes with it. Once the best worst team has been selected, the healthcare retailer will be following and documenting the club's journey throughout the 2023-24 footballing season. Teams from both communities are encouraged to find out more about the scheme and see if they are eligible, even if they're not that bad on the pitch. To apply or nominate a team to become Specsavers' best worst team, visit www.specsavers.co.uk/best-worst-team. You can follow the journey of your chosen best worst team and see if Specsavers can change their fortunes in the company's social channels.
Have your say on licensing. Locals across East Dunbartonshire are being urged to have their say on the Council's approach to licensing. That's as part of preparation for its new Statement of Licensing Policy, SLP, for the region. People, organisations and businesses have until September the 18th to give their views on the Council's approach to promoting the 5 objectives contained within the Licensing Scotland Act 2005. These are preventing crime and disorder, securing public safety, preventing public nuisance, protecting and improving public health, and protecting children and young people from harm. The Council's licensing boards new SLP covers a range of matters including over-provision, opening hours and outdoor areas. Convener for the board, Councillor Stuart MacDonald, said, "I hope as many people as possible can spare the time to reflect on this vital document. The draft document is available at www.eastdunbarton.gov.uk/licensing-2023.
Big Butterfly Count 2023. Get counting butterflies. Report by Morag Cook. Wildlife charity Butterfly Conservation is calling on people across Scotland to take part in this year's Big Butterfly Count, July the 14th to August the 6th, to help scientists understand the impact of climate change on the country's most loved butterflies. Last year's record temperatures, heatwave and drought caused some of the plants that caterpillars feed on to wither and die. To help scientists discover what the ongoing impact of this extreme weather has been, the Scottish public have been asked to spend 15 minutes in any sunny spot and record the number and type of butterflies they see. Last year, people across Scotland carried out 3,633 counts as part of the Big Butterfly Count, spotting 24,111 butterflies and day-flying moths. The most commonly spotted species across the country included meadow brown, small white and ringlet. Scientists need to know how these and other species are faring, and are relying on the Scottish public to help. Butterflies are indicators of a healthy natural environment, with half of the UK's butterfly species already threatened or near threatened with extinction. It's never been more important to understand how our insects are responding to the changing climate, and to take action to protect them. Dr. Zoe Randall, Senior Surveys Officer at Butterfly Conservation, explains, "This is a vital year for the Big Butterfly Count. We know that the previous extreme summer droughts in 1976 and 1995 took a heavy toll on butterflies, and numbers crashed the following year, taking almost a decade to recover. The data collected in Scotland during this year's Big Butterfly Count will give us a valuable insight into what the effect of the most recent extreme weather has been, and how we might be able to protect our beautiful butterflies. With climate change here to stay, we need people in Scotland to take part more than ever before. Butterfly Conservation's Big Butterfly Count is the largest citizen science project of its kind, and is a positive way that everyone can help. As well as contributing to important scientific data collection, taking part in the count is a great way to enjoy time outdoors, connect with nature and have fun. Sir David Attenborough has shared poignant messages in his support of the Big Butterfly Count over the years. Sir David said, "A few precious moments spent watching a stunning red admiral or peacock butterfly feeding amongst the flowers in my garden never fails to bring me great pleasure." Other famous faces to have taken part or supported the Big Butterfly Count over the last few years include His Majesty King Charles III, Her Royal Highness Princess Charlotte, Butterfly Conservation Vice President Chris Packham, and even Winnie the Pooh. For more information and to take part, simply visit www.bigbutterflycount.org or download the free Big Butterfly Count app. Get involved. David Forrest Nixon, OBE, is chairman of the DFN Foundation, which sponsors the Big Butterfly Count. He said, "The DFN Foundation is thrilled to once again sponsor the much anticipated Big Butterfly Count this year. Summer is a glorious time to enjoy the great outdoors in the UK, and so I encourage everyone to get involved with this year's Big Butterfly Count, either with friends and family, or setting off on a solo adventure to enjoy a moment of calm and reconnect with nature. Not only will it make you feel good, but it will also be invaluable in helping to save species of butterflies and protect our environment for future generations to enjoy." 27,844 renew tax credits via HMRC app. Report by Morag Cook. Almost 28,000 customers have used the HMRC app to renew their annual tax credits, claim His Majesty's Revenue and Customs, HMRC can reveal. Tax credits help working families with targeted financial support, and more than 1.5 million customers have received renewals packs. They have until July 31st to renew or update their claim or risk having their payments stopped. HMRC is encouraging customers to renew via the HMRC app. It's a quick and easy way to ensure they continue to get the payments they're entitled to receive. Myrtle Lloyd, HMRC's Director General for Customer Services, said, "The deadline for renewing tax credits claims is fast approaching, and using the HMRC app is a quick and easy way to do it. It offers customers peace of mind that their payments will be correct and they'll continue to receive them. The HMRC app is free, simple, secure, and means customers can directly access their tax credits accounts at any time through their smartphone or tablet, with no need to phone HMRC or fill in and post any forms. Customers can access their tax credits information via the HMRC app to renew their tax credits claim, update their personal details, notify HMRC of any change in circumstances, view and check their tax credits payments schedule, and view a record of payments so far. HMRC has released a video to explain how tax credits customers can use the HMRC app to view, manage and update their details. Customers can download the HMRC app for free from their smartphone app store. Once signed into the app, there are options for users to set up and detect facial recognition, a fingerprint or a 6-digit PIN to get fast and fully secure access to their details. As the deadline for renewals approaches, customers could be more vulnerable to criminals. HMRC is warning them that if they're contacted by someone pretending to be from HMRC who wants them to transfer money urgently or give personal information, they should never let themselves be rushed. Customers are advised to check HMRC's advice about scams on gov.uk. That's gov.uk.
Name in the air. Scotland's charity air ambulance, SCAA, is inviting supporters to fly symbolically with its frontline crews on every life-saving mission by sponsoring their own name on the aircraft. To mark its 10th anniversary, SCAA is offering a one-off opportunity for people to see their own name or that of a loved one featured within the SCAA lettering emblazoned across each of both of its Helimed 76 and Helimed 79 helicopters. For a year beginning this autumn, every time the rotors turn in response to an emergency anywhere in Scotland, the support of thousands will be at SCAA's side. Alec Gregg, SCAA's Digital Marketing and Communications Manager, said, "To secure your place on SCAA's helicopters, apply online at www.scaa.org, UK/donate-10 or call 0300 123 1111 and pledge your donation."
Boosting tree planting near rivers and streams. Scottish Forestry has taken action to boost nature recovery and biodiversity through new riparian tree planting measures. A new riparian target area has been produced for new planting, and the areas across Scotland which are eligible for increased grant support have been expanded. The target area identifies around 175,000 hectares of riparian land across Scotland that has the potential for woodland planting to deliver multiple benefits. These woodlands will help improve water quality, reduce river temperatures, help with flood management, and enhance biodiversity and the wider environment. They will be eligible for a higher grant rate under the Forestry Grant Scheme. This action to boost riparian planting is one of the measures announced recently by Rural Affairs Secretary Mary Googan in order to help get national planting rates back on track. Welcoming the new riparian measures, she said, "The Scottish Government is keen to see more planting of broadleaves around rivers and streams, as this will increase biodiversity, reduce diffuse pollution, and provide vital shading for wild Atlantic salmon and other organisms. Importantly too, there is also a wider body of scientific evidence which suggests that riparian planting is one of the most effective ways to reduce river temperatures. The mapping exercise to target new areas involved input from a range of key organisations. It has identified key locations across the country where further riparian planting will provide multiple environmental benefits. This collaborative work should help stimulate more riparian planting by increasing the overall area benefiting from the increased forestry grant scheme funding. As well as enhancing the environment, the new planting will make a contribution to our national woodland creation targets. Farmland use for establishment of riparian woodland under this new target area remains eligible, subject to existing conditions, for basic payment, which should help encourage farmers to create riparian woods as part of their farm. Forest Research is currently working on a new UK forestry standard practice guide, creating and managing riparian woodlands.
Family announcements. Deaths. Archer Lewis Murdoch sadly passed away at home, surrounded by his family, on Friday, June 30th, 2023. Beloved husband to Shallow, much loved dad to Emily, Louise, Stephen and Leanne. Wonderful papa to Abby, Sophie and Rome. You will be greatly missed. Rest in peace. Quinn Lily sadly at Glasgow Royal Infirmary on July 6th, 2023. Dearly beloved wife of Jimmy, much loved mum of David, Mandy and Nicola, a loving granny to Rachel, Gavin and Matthew, and great granny to Robin. Funeral service to take place on Monday, July 24th at Glasgow Crematorium, Maryhill, at 2:15 p.m. No flowers, please. Taylor Kenny peacefully after a short illness at Glasgow Royal Infirmary on July 8th, 2023. Beloved husband of Claire, a much-loved dad of Erin, Laura and Sarah, an adored granda to Emmy, Juliet, Willow and Nathan. Funeral service will take place on Friday, July 21st, 2023, at Glasgow Crematorium, Maryhill, for 2:15 p.m. Family flowers only, donations if desired to Beatson Cancer Charity. Thank you. Flora Reid. After having recently celebrated my 85th birthday, I would like to offer a special thanks to my wonderful circle of family, friends and acquaintances who went out of their way to make my day so special. I would like to extend my thanks to my friends at Contact Point for their generosity of gifts. Thanks to Beth and Enna for having a special meal in my honour on my birthday. In particular, special thanks to the staff at Galoni's for their gifts and who go above and beyond to help me, and have continued to for the last 30 plus years. And finally, I would like to thank my family for organising a lovely birthday lunch at the Broadcroft Hotel on Saturday, June 1st, where I cherished the time spent with them, all whilst having a wonderful lunch and service from staff. My sincere thanks, Miss Flora Reid.
Ghost hunters make Provan Hall first call. Ghost hunters are crying out to investigate Glasgow's spookiest new visitor attraction. Paranormal investigators are queuing up to enter the newly restored Provan Hall house in Easterhouse, which is said to be one of the city's most haunted locations. The historic Grade 1 listed building sits at the heart of the city's stunning Seven Lochs wetland park and has undergone a multi-million-pound transformation into a state-of-the-art visitor centre with the interactive exhibits, educational activities, workshops and community events. But it's the building's ethereal occupants and grisly past which are pulling in paranormal investigators. Sightings at the spooky site include up to 5 different ghostly figures, a mysterious man's face peering from a window, unexplained shouts and voices, and visitors feeling touched by a ghostly presence. Legend has it that Proven Hall was the scene of a double murder when a soldier returned from war after 2 years to find his wife had a child. Enraged, he killed them both, and their ghosts are said to haunt the building to this day. Over the past 6 years, the building has undergone a sensitive restoration to create a visitor centre, and news of its imminent reopening saw ghost hunters clamouring to be first through the metal-studded doors. History and Horror Tours will host a storytelling fright night for up to 20 intrepid ghost hunters aged 12 plus from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Thursday, July 27th. Electromagnetic field meters will be used to detect any unexplained electrical activity, and bulbs which light up when moved will help detect any otherworldly attendees. Lynn Knight will lead the tour with husband Gary. She said, "Anyone aged 12 plus who is interested in the history of the building or the paranormal should come along. It will be a fun evening, even if you're sceptical about ghosts. We love it when skeptics come along. They usually end up a lot less skeptical by the end of the ghost walk." The new facility will officially open to the public on August 12th, but anyone keen for a sneak peek can go along to Family Fun Preview Days on Saturday, July 15th, Sunday, July 16th, Saturday, July 22nd, and Sunday, July 23rd, between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. There will be bouncy castles, storytelling, arts and crafts, and building tours.
Letters page, dated Wednesday the 19th of July 2023. Let's talk. Why is drug use so much worse in Scotland? Sir, a junior SNP minister is tasked with revealing just after Holyrood has closed for the summer that the SNP regime wants Westminster to decriminalise all drugs for personal use. This means that it would not be a criminal offence to possess heroin or cocaine, highly dangerous drugs. Eleanor Whittam, the minister, had clearly forgotten that, in 2021, the Lord Advocate had effectively decriminalised these drugs by deciding that those caught in possession of Class A drugs in Scotland would be given a police warning instead of criminal charges. There are hard questions to be asked about this issue. First, why is the mortality rate from drug use in Scotland over 3 times that of the rate of the rest of the UK? Could it have anything to do with the slashing the number of rehabilitation beds in Scotland from 352 in 2007 to 70 a decade later? Or to a 22% fall in including the year 2015-16 for support services to addicts? These are SNP policies and nothing to do with allegedly wicked Westminster. Second, to those who say legalise drugs, put their sale under state control and tax them, like alcohol and tobacco, I'd ask what would happen when the current dealers, who would scarcely be deterred by this, simply undercut the legal state prices. Perhaps there needs to be a strategy for coming down hard on the dealers. Combating the scourge of hard drug use is a very knotty problem. For example, safe consumption rooms and clean needles do not address the fact that so many drug users now take their chosen substance in pill form. Simply legalising drug use is pretty much throwing in the towel. More than that, it has been used by the SNP as another stick with which to beat Westminster. So I ask again, why, under a uniform regime throughout the UK, is the drug problem so much worse in Scotland than elsewhere? Yours, etc., Jill Stevenson, by email. Negative energy at Westminster? Sir, I find myself nodding in ferocious agreement with Marie Black and Stephen Flynn's recent assessment of Westminster as toxic. I made my first visit to the UK Parliament just a few weeks ago, and I found a certain negative energy permeating throughout the place. Most obviously, the building itself is not fit for purpose. The host of the event I was attending started the session by telling us to run for our lives should the fire alarm go off. But more importantly, one need not stay there long to tell its culture is also toxic. Every toilet is adorned with posters for the Independent Grievance and Complaint Service, promising readers there will be no personal consequences should they complain. It is a damning indictment of the so-called Mother of Parliaments that there is clearly no confidence in the scheme in Westminster, given recent reports. Yours, etc., Michael Heffernan. Address supplied. Ruth Rugby post despair. Sir, the appointment of Ruth Davidson to the board of Scottish Rugby's operating company calls into question the judgment of those who selected her. She wasn't chosen by some old gin-soaked rugby alicadoos. She was chosen by the new chair of Scottish Rugby Limited, John McGuigan, and his cohort of slick corporate colleagues who are the new leaders of the game. Leaders with no experience of rugby, no experience of running a governing body in sport, and, clearly, no experience of Scottish politics. In his first act, Mr McGuigan has politicised the Scottish Rugby Union, caused a boycott of the game, and, most probably, turned off the future funding tap from the Scottish Government. Quite an achievement from those who have been parachuted in to show the rugby chaps how it's done. It is Mr McGuigan who should be considering his position, not Baroness Davidson. Yours, etc., James Simpson, by email. Door badly handled. Sir, what a fiasco over the colour of Miranda Dixon's front door in Edinburgh's Drummond Place. It is quite apposite that the road is named after George Drummond, the ex-Lord Provost, who was integral in putting forward the motion to develop the new town in 1760. I'm sure he is reeling in Canongate Kirkyard over this petty issue. Are not some of the more ancient edifices in the old town more extravagantly painted, notably Victoria Street? Yours, etc., Keith McLaren. Address supplied. Kirkintilloch and Bishopbriggs Herald Readers' Charter. This newspaper is built on a tradition of accuracy and fairness, giving you the information you need to understand our world, holding power to account and exposing injustice. Our trusty brand means we are the only place where you can read it and participate in honest debates. We are committed to giving a voice to those who struggle to be heard, as well as those whose profession is crafting an argument. Our Reader's Charter spells out our commitment to you. You can read the Charter online at Kirky Herald @jnscotland.co.uk. Column Going Green. Green campaigner and consumer expert Angela Terry separates climate change facts from fiction, explaining how you can take simple, practical steps to help save the planet. Follow @OurOneHome and visit onehome.org.uk for more advice, emailing all your weather, environmental and sustainability questions to askangela @onehome.org.uk. Where does the UK sit in the world rankings? Where does the UK sit in the world rankings of how green we are as a country? Honestly, this is a question that makes me frustrated to think about because the answer isn't great. It's a very timely question though. The Climate Change Committee, CCC, who is the government's independent watchdog, published their annual progress report to Parliament in June, and it makes for rather sad reading because the UK is not on track to reach legally binding targets to reduce carbon pollution. So, not only have we lost our world leading position, the situation is not set to get any better despite numerous pledges. What this means in reality is, less homes were insulated last year under a government-backed insulation strategy scheme than the year before, despite the cost of living crisis looming large and the soaring cost of energy bills. Homes that are being built now will need expensive retrofitting when it comes to insulation too, so even new builds are falling behind. There hasn't been any significant progress in decreasing emissions from transport. In fact, the government set 2030 targets for reducing pollution, which is currently failing to reach, which means emission reductions will have to quadruple to reach their targets in the next 7 years. The Lords Environment and Climate Change Committee and the CCC agree that the boiler upgrade scheme is failing to deliver its objectives. If the current take-up rate for the heat pumps continues, only half of the allocated budget will be used, meaning the government's 2028 target of 600,000 installations a year is unlikely to be met. When it comes to clean energy, the installation of new solar and wind farms across the country are too slow to meet net zero, not to mention the fact that much needed electricity grid upgrades are happening too slowly too. Talking about the UK position, Lord Deben, the outgoing chair of the CCC, said, "We've slipped behind and other people have moved ahead. For example, China is 5 years ahead of its renewable energy targets for 2030. There is a slight positive that greenhouse gas emissions are falling rather than increasing, but they're falling by under 3% a year, so this figure needs to double over the next 8 years to reach its targets. We're not getting pollution cars off the road in anything like the numbers we need to, and meanwhile airports are expanding. Tree planting in the UK is around 13,000 per year, not the 30,000 that's been promised, and when the 13,000 are planted, there's no central information on how many of these saplings are dying because of heat waves, pests and droughts. Put simply, things aren't great. And, while we can't control government policies, there are things we're in control of that can help. Agriculture, energy bills and transport are three huge sectors where adapting consumer habits can make a difference. Celebrity spot. The Women's World Cup is just weeks away from starting. Hosted in Australia and New Zealand, New Zealand's Katie Rood, who plays her club football for Hearts in Scotland, has been a climate change advocate since she was young. I've always felt connected to nature. Growing up in New Zealand, I remember playing football on Sundays and then racing west to find a good view of the sun setting over the ocean. It was a time that I could just be at peace with myself. Green Swap. Swap browsing bookshops for little free libraries. The website www.littlefreelibrary.org has a search option so you can find the nearest phone booth, box or doorstep near you that's been turned into a free library. You can even start one yourself. Fact or fiction? Global surface temperature has increased faster than since 1970 in any other 50-year period over at least the last 2,000 years. Fact. Temperatures across the whole surface of the Earth are rising, both land and sea are affected. Help is needed to keep our waterways healthy. Social media has had plenty of dead fish pictures posted from across the UK this month. Thousands of fish died in Salford Quays right by BBC's media centre this month, and there are disturbing headlines that fish are boiling alive in UK rivers. From Kent to Manchester, thousands of fish are dying, and it's not just in rivers and canals. Fish are washing up on beaches and in harbours across the country too. We've just had the hottest June on record, and consequently, cold-blooded fish are struggling. The Canal and River Trust are removing dead fish from canals because there are low oxygen levels in the water. Water levels are too low and algae is blooming, which uses up a lot of oxygen, so these factors have created the perfect storm for lots of fish and other marine animals. The low oxygen levels means there's simply not enough to support the fish, and unfortunately, the birds and mammals that rely on these fish suffer too. Herons and otters, who are raising young at the moment, could have poor breeding cycles if they simply can't get enough food to feed their young. But it's not just excess warmth and a lack of oxygen. The little rain we're having at the moment is coming in storms or heavy, sharp downpours. This means there's a lot of agricultural wash-off, fertilisers and pesticides and animal waste from fields, as well as toxic pollutions from car exhausts, etc., are washing into our waterway at breakneck speed and entering rivers in high concentrations. Currently, there are 2 hosepipe bans in the UK, with South West Water and South East Water, but this still covers an area from Devon and Cornwall to Kent and Sussex. But the hot weather has increased water consumption, with paddling pools being filled, and this in turn has an impact on reservoir and river levels which harbour fish too. Whichever way we look at it, dead fish in our waterways is a bad sign. More needs to be done to keep our waterways healthy, especially considering the fact More people than ever are using them recreationally for swimming, as well as angling and water sports. There's the old fable that if you put a frog in boiling water, it'll jump out, but if you put it in cold water and slowly warm it, it'll boil to death. And we're slowly turning up the temperature in our sea and river creatures, and they're dying as a result. We know we're experiencing an unprecedented marine heatwave around the shores of the UK, so there's a very real risk things are going to get worse this summer. While it might be fish that are impacted now, it also affects water users and the fishing industry who rely on our waters for their business. The UK had just 68% of its projected rainfall in June, and the Met Office issued a statement claiming the fingerprint of climate change is on June's temperature records. Gamers asked to grant wishes. Report by Morag Cook. Gamers, gaming industry leaders and content creators are being asked to come together and help grant 200 life-changing wishes for critically ill children across the UK. Make-A-Wish UK's Wish 200 Week, between July 24th and 30th, invites gamers to do sponsored live streams, challenges and special events to help raise money to make magical wishes come true for up to 200 children aged between 3 to 18 years old. More than 63,000 children in the UK have been diagnosed with a critical condition and are eligible for a wish. Since 2021, when Wish 200 Week was first established, the gaming community has come together to raise a staggering £696,000 and delivered over 300 wishes to critically ill children and their families, helping them to create long-lasting memories. 11-year-old Cameron, who lives with tetralogy of Fallot, a heart condition resulting in several heart defects, got a surprise wish to meet YouTuber SB737. After hearing SB737's voice, Cameron knew that he'd finally be meeting his idol. The surprise on his face was the best part of the wish. It was so special because it was something that money can't buy, said Mum, Victoria. With a disability, it's hard for him to go out and play, said Victoria. Gaming allows him to play with his friends, and it provides a way for him to escape reality as he immerses himself into the action of video game characters. For Cameron, his favourite part of the wish was being able to hang out with SP737 and play games together. Watching Cameron meet his idol was the highlight of the trip for Victoria. I love watching Cameron talk to him and share photos of the day with his mates. To see Cameron so happy is all I ever wished for. Make-A-Wish made that happen, so my wish has also been granted. Under the campaign slogan, 1 week, 20 hours, your way, content creators including Cozy Gamer Cat will be holding live streams with all the money raised will go to directly granting wishes for 200 more children and young people. Jason Suckley, Chief Executive of Make-A-Wish UK, said, Gamers and non-gamers alike have the power to help us grant wishes for as many critically ill children across the UK as possible, many who have had childhood stolen away from them by their illness. We're giving a growing number of gaming-related wishes, which we know can leave a profound and lasting impact on critically ill children and their families. Gamers wanting to set up a live stream or special event can sign out to offer their support. Non-gamers can also take part and support those children who are waiting for a wish by entering the Make a Prize draw to win the ultimate gaming bundle, consisting of a gaming PC built by gaming content creator Sacriel, a gaming desk and chair bundle, Xbox and a PS5. And for those who can't take part during the week, are still able to compete in their 20-hour challenge at a time that suits them. To find out how to get involved in the campaign, visit make-a-wish.org.uk/wish-200week. District News General, Wednesday the 19th of July 2023. Kirkintilloch Horticultural Society. Our annual general meeting held in May was well attended with new office bearers duly appointed. The cheese and wine afterwards made for a sociable evening enjoyed by all. Our summer outing will be on Saturday, August the 5th, when we look forward to revisiting the gardens at Dumfries House, Cumnock. We were last there 5 years ago. Anyone wishing to find out more about the society can call Paul Malcolm on 0141 578 1520 or by visiting our website www.kirkintillochhorty.org.uk. Heart of the Matter. Happy 75th birthday to the NHS by Dr. Frank Dunn. The 5th of July 1948 is a date firmly etched in many memories. I was just under 2 at the time. The NHS was acclaimed and celebrated after its difficult pregnancy and prolonged labour. Labour is a key word in all of this. That political party, with a very determined Minister of Health, or Minister of Disease as Churchill called him, in Iron Bevan, carried the day. Bevan, who hailed from the south of Wales mine towns of Tredegar, had a speech impediment as a child, but overcame this to become one of Parliament's finest orators. Despite a basic school education, he self-educated to a high level. He took on the medical profession, who were opposed to the idea of an NHS, and brought them on side in the run-up to July the 5th. Tredegar was also where a young Scottish doctor practised in the 1920s. His experiences there formed the basis of The Citadel, 1937. That doctor was A.J. Cronin, and his novel graphically illustrated the inequalities in health provision and the general poor standard of health and social care. Although written 11 years before the NHS, it is considered by many to have been a factor in its foundation. Here we are 75 years later. Has the NHS been a success? I believe it has been, and for many of its 75 years, the envy of many countries around the world. However, as the years have gone on, the demands on the NHS have increased, and successive governments have wrestled with the financial requirements of this bottomless pit. The NHS had been creaking for a number of years as a result of inadequate staff recruitment, finance, and an increasingly elderly population. COVID has stretched NHS resources to breaking point. Waiting lists have soared, ER departments are struggling, and social care see no light at the end of the tunnel. Dentistry is now to a significant degree out of the NHS. The solution to these issues are complex. At the heart of this is staff numbers at all levels. We are not producing and attracting enough staff to meet the needs of the population. There is a substantial number of skilled pupils who are perfectly able to become doctors, but because of the number of available medical places, are unable to do so. Robust plans for increased recruitment and retention are essential. Let us hope for a full recovery for the 75-year-old cherished service. Farm fatalities. A risk management expert is urging Scotland's farmers to improve their health and safety standards after official figures revealed the country has the highest number of agricultural work-related fatal injuries in Great Britain. Latest figures from the Health and Safety Executive, HSE, revealed that 5 people were killed in the country's agricultural sector in 2022-23, 3 more than last year. Alex Cormack, of Licence Risk Management Service, said, "It's tragic that the number of deaths has increased. Some fatalities can be attributed to freak accidents, but others could be avoided by adopting a more rigorous approach to safety." Across Britain, there were 21 fatalities in agriculture, 2 fewer than last year. Cormack said, "The drop in the number of fatalities is encouraging, but I would urge those who work in the industry to remain vigilant and to avoid complacency. Agriculture is a dangerous industry to work in, coming second only to construction in the number of annual fatalities. A third of all fatal injuries in agriculture were caused by people coming into contact with cattle. This was followed by being struck by an object, / falling from height, contact with machinery, / contact with a stationary or fixed object, and contact with a moving vehicle, / being trapped by something collapsing." The Scottish fatalities included a 71-year-old employee who died when he came into contact with cattle at a farm in Dalbeattie, Dumfries, and Galloway. At a farm in Kinross, Fife, a 58-year-old farmer died when he was struck by a moving vehicle, and a 65-year-old farmer was killed when he came into contact with machinery at a farm in Auchterarder, Perth and Kinross. Cormac said, "Over the last 5 years, 64% of all fatalities in the sector involved the self-employed. This suggests that although employers may be conscientious about health and safety measures and training for their staff, they are not giving their own personal safety enough attention. The cost of business crisis is putting a lot of pressure on the agricultural industry, and there could be a danger that in order to make savings or to save time, some owners may be tempted to take risks. This could leave families devastated and businesses ruined. To help prevent such tragedies occurring, risk assessment should be thorough, all appropriate training should be undertaken, and safety policies should be implemented." Truckfest comes to Edinburgh. Tons of trucks and family fun rolling into the Royal Highland Centre in Edinburgh. Truckfest is a thrilling family show coming back to the Royal Highland Centre this summer on Saturday and Sunday, August the 5th and 6th. And, as always, it's going to be a great show. The ever popular event is returning this August, so get your tickets booked today to take advantage of the early bird price. If you're new to Truckfest, you will not be disappointed, in addition to the hundreds of impressive haulage vehicles on show. Advanced single day tickets, adults £16, £6 children, under 5s are free on show days, family ticket £40. Visit www.truckfest.co.uk/Truckfest-Scotland/day-tickets. Writer is celebrated. A project which aims to celebrate one of Scotland's most influential 18th century writers, whose legacy has tended to be neglected, has been awarded funding by the prestigious Leverhulme Trust. Robert Fergusson died tragically young, aged just 24 in 1774, but is credited with being one of Robert Burns' key influences, leaving behind a substantial body of poetry. Fergusson's enduring legacy has seen him included in the Scott Monument in Princes Street in Edinburgh, opposite Burns, who referred to Fergusson as his elder brother in the Muse. He is also commemorated in a statue by David Anand on Edinburgh's Canongate. 2024 marks the 250th anniversary of Ferguson's death in Edinburgh's Asylum for Pauper Lunatics. The £110,000 funding from the Leverhulme Trust project grant will be used to commemorate Ferguson's textual and cultural legacies by holding events throughout 2024 to discuss his influence not only in the development of the Scottish literature, but in the treatment of mentally ill patients in his native city. The 2-year project entitled The Works of Robert Fergusson, Reconstructing Textual and Cultural Legacies, is being led by Professor Rona Brown. Speaking about the award, Brown, a professor in Scottish literature at the University of Glasgow School of Critical Studies, said, "Robert Ferguson's short life has often been seen as tragic, but his poetic output is astonishing in its style, content and influence."
No Quarter Given, an article by Brian Yule and read by me, Corey. Lindsay tennis star Maya Lumsden and her partner Naktha Baines became the first British duo to reach the last 8 of the Wimbledon women's doubles for 40 years. The Wildcards enjoyed a fine run at the All England club, starting with a stunning victory over the number 11 seeds Anna Danilina and Yifan Zhu, who were both in the world's top 30. Next they overcame Magda Linette and Bernarda Pera in the second round, where they came unstuck last year. Then Victoria Hurinkakova and Teresa Malahikova in the third round to reach the quarter-finals. Jo Dury and Anne Hobbs were the previous British team to reach the last 8 of the tournament. doing so in 1983 before being beaten by top seeds Martina Navratilova and Pam Shriver in the semi-finals. Lumsden and Bairns faced a tough test on Court 2 against two of the world's top 10 ranked players, 2021 champions Elsie Mertens and her partner Storm Hunter, as the third seas eased through 6-2, 6-1. Her performance at Wimbledon capped off a fine first half of the year for Lumsden, having won 4 ITF-level double titles this season, 3 of them with Bairns, as their doubles ranking have both rocked to within the world's top 100. Reaching the quarter-finals of a Grand Slam seems a distant dream, just 18 months ago for the 25-year-old, when a diagnosis of long COVID jeopardised her future in the game. Lumsden said, "During it, I didn't think I was going to get back playing sport. That was like a year where I couldn't really do any exercise. I never really thought I would get back to playing professionally, so it's obviously unbelievable that I have got back to it now, and I am very grateful that I can." The energy we were getting was for sure helping us, because we were trying to fire ourselves up as much as we could, and try and use the crowd. In the tough moments when they're making a lot of noise, it's such a good feeling for us. Before the tournament, we said to each other that we wanted to do better than last year, so I'm glad we've done that. I think obviously it gives us a lot of confidence that we're winning matches at this level, and going forward, that's going to be huge for us. That article was written by Brian Yule and read by me, Corey. Oliver prepares to take his side to the next level. An article by Brian Yule and read by me, Corey. Ashfield boss Michael Oliver admits he hasn't had much of a summer break, but wouldn't have it any other way as he prepares his side for life in the WOS First Division. Oliver has brought in a number of new faces as he seeks to add more depth to the squad, believing he had to rely on players from under-20s to bolster the ranks too often last season. Among those who have arrived over the past few weeks is former Petershill midfielder Craig Quinn, linking up with his brother Aidan, who has been at the club for a year. The other new recruits are midfielder Lewis Warnock and Jay Malley, defender Lance Pearce, forwards Sean Grady, Dean Farmer and Sean Slavin, winger Patrick Shelley and goalkeeper Blair Lockhead. Oliver, who has now been in charge for a year, told the Field TV, "The boys had 3 Saturdays off. Probably not as long a break as some of them might have hoped for, because the season got extended. We've not really stopped, myself and Jamie Broadfoot. We've been out regularly meeting players, so it's not really been much of a break for us, but we wouldn't have it any other way. We need to prepare as best we can for going into the First Division. We know it's going to be a much tougher test for us, so we need to be as ready as we can be. We are happy with what we have done with transfers. We have added some quality players to the group. There has been a couple we have missed out that we're hoping to sign, but that's football. We know that we are in terms with the market, what we can pay players and what other clubs are offering, so we knew it was going to be tough. We tried to get it done as early as we could, and were already talking to players before the season finished last year, and trying to get guys tied down. There were areas of the pitch where we wanted to not necessarily strengthen in terms of the first 11, but we certainly wanted to add a lot more depth to the squad. Last summer there were too many Saturdays where we were short. We had maybe 11 or 12 first-team players and were filling the bench with the under-20s, which is great to be able to do that, and some of the under-20s really benefited from that and excelled. But we wanted to be in a position where we have a right good group of 18 who are all capable of playing in the starting 11. We have only lost guys who have effectively retired. Nobody wanted to move on, which is great, and some had other teams sniffing around them, but they have enjoyed their time here. Ultimately, they were the ones who got us promoted, so it is brilliant to have that commitment. And once we knew who we had and who we didn't have, then it was a case of identifying where we felt we had to add depth to the squad, and we have just done that. We are a position now where we should have 2 players fighting for each position, and that is going to be massive going into the First Division. We know it is going to be tough, but we want to make an impact and not just make up the numbers. Ashfield will kick off the new league campaign away to Winlets Victoria on Saturday, July 29th. That article was written by Brian Yule and read by me, Corey. Chris puts in a sensational showing. Glasgow Tigers boss Cammy Brown hailed number 1 Chris Harris as sensational after a huge away win at Birmingham last midweek. A 53-36 win over the Brummies in the Championship saw Bomber completing a second successful full maximum score. Birmingham lost their top man Nick Morris on the eve of the clash, and Glasgow took full advantage to romp to their biggest away win of the campaign. It also meant 10 race victories on the bounce for Harris after his full score at Ashfield against Redcar. Brown said, "Chris was sensational yet again. He produced 2 brilliant passes from the back and was a different class. I'm delighted for all the boys to have a really good night. Everyone got stuck in and scored a few. Birmingham were obviously rocked by losing Nick shortly before the start of the meeting. Naturally, it made a huge difference to their strength. To their credit, they battled really hard, and special mention for Alfie Botel, who was excellent. But it's another big win for us on the road. We've won 2 vital meetings in 5 days, and now we need to kick off." There were also strong performances on the night from Tom Brennan, 11+3, Klaus Vissing, 9+2, and Ben Basso, 7+1. Tigers travel to Oxford Cheetahs tonight, Wednesday, in the Championship, and then look to overcome a 34-point deficit in the second leg of the BSN series, finally at home to Pole Pirates on Friday. City legend Jo has extended her stay. An article by Brian Yule and read by me, Corey. Glasgow City legend Jo Love has signed a contract extension for the club to remain for a 13th season. Love joined City in 2011 and is the second highest appearance maker in the club's history, having played 272 times, while scoring 96 goals. The skipper has won 11 SWPL titles, along with numerous Scottish and WSPL Cups, and featured both times City reached the quarter-finals of the UEFA Women's Champions League. Love is also the highest capped outfield player for Scotland with 191 caps. Commenting on her new deal, Love said, "I'm delighted to be offered my 13th season at Glasgow City. I'd like to thank the club and my additional employment at Glasgow Scientific Services for their continued trust in me and allowing this opportunity to play for another season. The support the club has shown, particularly throughout my injury over the past months, has been amazing, and I look forward to repaying this back on the pitch." City head coach Leanne Ross said, "Everyone at the club is delighted with the news of Jo's contract extension. Jo is a born winner and has contributed massively to the success this club has achieved over the years. As our captain, Jo is a fantastic role model and leader, on and off the pitch. She pushes herself to be the best she can be every day and demands the same from everyone at the club. Her experience and leadership will be vital to us as we begin the defence of the SWPL title and a new Champions League campaign. Leaving City is Scotland defender Jenna Clark, who has signed for WSL side Liverpool, the club she has supported since childhood. The 21-year-old made 143 appearances as she won 4 SWPL titles and the Scottish Cup in 2019. Despite being a centre-back, Clark had an eye for goal, finding the net 30 times, including a hat-trick against Glasgow Women in the Sky Sports Cup quarter-final. Clark said, "For the past 5 years, this has been my home, a place where I felt safe and accepted. I came here as a young 16-year-old, and I wouldn't be the player or person I am today without all those involved at the club. To all the players, staff and fans, I've been lucky enough to work alongside over the past 5 years. Thank you. Thank you for the memories, thank you for the support, and most of all, thank you for taking me in as one of your own. My dad has always been a Liverpool fan, so for me growing up there was no other team to support. I was on the stadium tour at Anfield last year. For the first club I will play for outside of Scotland to be one I have supported since I was a young kid just puts a smile on my face. I just can't stop smiling at the thought of it." Ross added, "Jenna arrived at Glasgow City a young, raw talent many people had high aspirations for. She leaves having smashed everyone's expectations. She will be a huge loss, but we all wish her every success in the next chapter of her career." That article was written by Brian Yule and read by me, Corey. Youngsters join the Warriors Academy. A number of talented East Dunbartonshire youngsters have been welcomed into the Glasgow Warriors Academy after Scottish Rugby confirmed the 2023/24 intake. Lindsay Academy pupil Logan Jarvie is one of 5 players to continue for a second season. Jarvie started playing rugby at Cumbernauld at the age of 5 and his school from S1 to S3 before moving to Stirling County in 2017. The winger was one of the standouts in the recent FOS ROC Super Series sprint for Stirling Wolves. Jarvie is currently in Kenya as part of the Scotland squad taking part in the World Rugby Under-20 trophy. He has been joined at both the Academy and in Africa by Glasgow Hawks centre Kerr Yule, after the Beauclair Academy pupil was a revelation for Ayrshire Bulls. Also recruited from Glasgow Hawks is Douglas Academy pupil Ryan Burke, who plays in the second row. West of Scotland fly half Matthew Irwin, who attends St Aloysius College, has also joined the Warriors Academy. The Academy players will train alongside the senior players whilst also participating in the FOS ROC Super Series. This allows the young players to accelerate their development by being immersed in a pro-team club environment, as well as benefiting from professional coaches and support staff. Scottish Rugby's head of player transition, Kenny Murray, said, "It's a really exciting time for these young players, in particular for those who will experience regular involvement in a professional environment for the first time." New faces arriving to help Petershill rebuild. Petershill has welcomed a few new faces as it looks to bounce back to the WOS Premier Division at the first attempt. A total of 13 players moving into pastures new following last season's regulation, leaving Ian Curry and Stephen McNeil facing a major rebuilding job with just 8 players under contract. First in the door was attacker Ryan Thompson from St Cadoc's. McNeil said, "We're delighted to add Ryan to the squad. His ability and expertise of this division will be invaluable this season." Ryan Haxton has returned to the club, having played a big part in winning the Super First Division in 2017/18. McNeil said, "Hackey is a player who knows what the club is all about. Him signing this season will bring a great deal of value to the squad with his commitment, experience and ability." McNeil has also been reunited with midfielder Thomas Sinclair from Vale of Clyde, the duo having previously played together at Pollock and Kirkintilloch Rob Roy. McNeil said, "Delighted to get Cincy signed up, having played with him at Pollock and Rob Roy. I know that his ability and experience, along with his character in the dressing room, will add a different dynamic to the squad." The other new signings include midfielder Paul Fee from Cambuslang Rangers and defender Luke Ramsey following a spell with Cumbernauld Colts under-20s. First-team coach Ryan Docherty has also departed the club to take up a similar position with Pollock. Petershill kick off the new campaign at home to St Roch's on July 29th.
That concludes this week's edition of the Kirkintilloch Herald podcast. Please remember to subscribe to our channels, review, and to tell your friends about our service.